Well, hello. I'm here in Dayton, Ohio. This is my birth town, and you know, it's come to my awareness now over a few years, but that there's a huge drug problem here. I didn't know how bad it was, but there's data out there. 1 in 1,000 people, just period. 1 out of 1,000 people, not prefacing that some other segment of population. 1 out of 1,000 people, period, die from OD in the county around Dayton here. Highest in the world, perhaps highest in the history. It's so bad that I was talking to a prison warden the other day, and he was saying that people, they just sit there and they do the drugs during the day. They get off, they can do whatever. He said they don't care that they have rehabilitation programs and this and that. They don't want to better themselves. They said they're going to get out and go back to doing the same damn thing. They'll tell this guy to his face. It makes you think twice about these lovely ideas about rehabilitating people and changing people. It's like, how long have you lived to think that people can change that much? So we have a serious problem here. You have to ask yourself, what's going on in a bigger society when you have statistics like this come up? This is the type of thing that's on the brink of collapse. That's when you start seeing things like this: drugs going crazy, and sexual debauchery, and transgenderism, and gay pride marches. Stuff that happens all the time. People think it's a great thing. That's spelling societal collapse. And you have to wonder, what type of new place is being built here? Because I don't think it's a thing with invading armies and swords and this type of thing where there's coming and crashing. It's more like this field that used to be a meadow now is getting bulldozed, and we're going to put condominiums on them. And we're going to have all these big tech companies come by and draw people from all over the place that don't care and don't have roots here, and it doesn't bug them that they can't see the tree that they used to anymore. It doesn't bug them that the type of economy they used to have and rely on is gone. It's people who think it's a good thing to have this type of buildup, and maybe for them it is. But my concern is, what about all those other people? You see, people are getting more and more divided now between the city and the country. The city folks, the country folks, the jokes of the comedians, they're right on top of it. They see this, they have predicted, they know that something is coming, and they've latched onto it. But not too many other people are talking about it. I think in Ohio it's a bit of a swing state, but I think it's swinging between people who live more in the country and people who live more in the cities. People in the cities don't have any concerns about this thing. They don't think that, monopolizing forces is such a bad thing, because maybe they'll get a job at one of the plants. You know what I mean? If the city grows and everything expands, well, maybe there'll be a variety of degeneration that fits their fancy. The hedonistic pleasure button, boop, beep, beep, and then they'll be good. But people are tuned differently. And there's a lot of people who aren't like up to pace with this type of thing. Because the thing about Ohio is, it built up or isn't built out. You go from the capital an hour and a half, and you think, oh, I'm in the middle of nowhere, because there is a difference. And there's a difference in how people think. Because when other things are aside, we don't have huge monopolies changing the basic landscape of a place and its resources and what type of work can be there and what can't. You have environments which shape the type of people that go there, that draw certain types of people, where you need to have certain types of qualities to exist in that time. And when the certain types of jobs in the area also select for the type of people in the area. But that's being gone. And now we're having, a very rare, big, huge range of people being thrown into a similar area, and it's making a lot of conflict. Because despite what people say, it's not enough to eat at the same restaurant and shop at the same place. That's not what bonds people. So we're losing the integrity of connection in Ohio. And I think that's a large reason why these drug things are going up, because we don't have a culture anymore. We can't connect to people unless it's through destroying ourselves, because that's what we see around us, destruction. That's what we know from our families, from life in general. Man, it's not looking good. And it is to the point now where we're starting to be divided politically between families and things like this. Again, when I see this type of statistic with drugs, I don't see simply, some type of number or something. I see a million issues, and it's hard for me to even talk about a few of them. It's also the type of music people listen to, the associations they make in their brains, the different synapses and connections and neural patterns that they get into with people, and they start to interlock. And now you start to feel these weird maps of group dynamics. And I'm afraid that Ohio is becoming like that. I'm afraid that all of it's just being built up with this weird type of mental immaculation of an environment where again it's not necessarily how the land is and how the people are, but it's how it's been domineered and how it's been conquered. I feel for the people who in that process are being left behind. I just don't know how people don't tie the dots together. This type of thing never happens unless there's some type of nefarious warfare behind it. People don't just magically get addicted to drugs, like the Opium Wars and all that, when certain parts of British people were making the Chinese people dependent on opium, right? But that wasn't as bad as what's going on here. We there's two large things that are unaddressed. One is, why are doctors overprescribing these medications? Why are they so easy to get a hold of? Why is it they just give a kid willy nilly this much and he's like, oh, it's gonna be fun, for his knee or whatever, to take them all at once or something because he hears they're fun online, whatever. You know what I mean? Why is it that we have a Google thing that when you type in reactions to drugs, it gives you sensations like an advertisement? You know, why is it that this is an idea of recreation at all? So that's one thing. You can't think that this issue is going to get any better without directing the doctors differently. You can't allow this type of thing to happen, which means you have to have action. It's not a matter of what you can do, in some philosophical sense or whatever. It's like, oh, there's a problem. There's something to be done about it. And that's where a lot of people fall off. Because it's nice to say this or that or whatever. It's nice to figure out little pet theories, but what if we just cut out, the supply? And that leads to the other thing. There's a Mexican cartel which is around Columbus and Dayton, particularly around Dayton, 70 and 75, the highways, and they have a grip on it. And you have to think, well, who's funding them, who's helping them out along the lines and whatever. And I think if you look hard enough there, you'll get to Israelis and that type of thing. But the thing is, we have to stop them from the inside and from the out if we're going to do anything about drug deaths. All right? And then we have to do something about the culture and the environment. When that's the only way that people can relate to each other, you're in an artificial environment. Completely artificial. You're someone who's deprived of the basic needs a human has. A human shouldn't have to take substances and things like that to feel good. Let's just have good company, good food, good recreation, good work, honest work that they can feel good about. This is what makes for a happy human. Family and kids and whatnot, not going off to college and getting stuck on opiates and getting fat and getting so crazy in your head that you want to cut off your balls or something. Like, I'm not trying to be vulgar, but these are the types of things that happen. And then you have to start looking at other things. That's why I can't just isolate one factor. You can't just look at a number on the paper and say that means something. Because what about all this feminism? You don't think that affects drug use? You don't think that if a mother has a different idea of herself, a potential mother, that she might not want to take drugs because she doesn't want to be like an opiate addicted mother or something like that, because she thinks that she can have fulfillment in her life on a deep level without any type of external gratification, be it through substances or a career, that just being who they are is enough. Instead they have to, conquer the world and change things and smoke a cigarette like a man and whatever, you know what I mean? It's just, it's ridiculous. Liberty torches, you know what I mean? Cigarette advertisements in the 30s and 40s, I believe. It's just, it's astounding, the spread that one such number can indicate, the things that it ties into. Parents not having authority, this weird divide between ages and everything. Where now you're being almost too slim around a few ways. My parents mess around with drugs when they're young and they're kind of okay with it. They're cool about it. We can make pot jokes or something. We can take drugs together. Even that type of thing happens. Like an initiation. But the thing you're being initiated into isn't like an ethnocentric positive culture where you feel good about who you are and who your ancestors are. It's being initiated uh, in a way that makes you disrespect your parents, which makes you think, oh, they were, excuse me, dumbasses just like me. You know what I mean? It makes you perpetuate negative behavior. It makes you more likely to start taking a pill. And then at the same time, what is that really? It is changing the structure, the striation of society. It's losing respect for anyone older than you. So you can't isolate it from family dynamics. In fact, if you're going to focus on anything, focus on that. But now people are so split, so differentiated. You can't even talk to your brother or something because you have different beliefs about things. And then you have to ask yourself, well, why do people think so differently? Do you think it's because they analyze and do research and this type of thing? Or do you think it's because they have natural dispositions? And people out there who, to appeal to these, they come up with different types of arguments and different types of catches based on personalities, people's personalities. And then from there, you start to have the scope, the playing field gets created. Here's this division, and here's that division, and here's that division. But it's not because of people make a stand on an issue because they've looked into it. It's because people have learned how to hack and manipulate people. To get votes, to get power, to get social recognition. And we've started to do that to each other as well. And then there's also the base of it. When you have all these dispositions, you can get people to agree from different backgrounds if it's something objective and fundamental. However, it's always a lot easier when you have people with the same genetics to get the same outcomes. It's like a chef. You can make yourself an Irish potato soup, or you can make yourself an egg soup. You know what I mean? But you can't make yourself an Irish egg potato soup and expect it to please the Chinaman and the Irishman. It's just not going to happen. I mean, maybe if you're a bit of a weirdo or you have a cast iron stomach, you might be able to handle it. I mean, I've eaten tons of weird food combinations in my life, to amusement of people around me and to the detriment of my gut. But you get my point. Too many cooks in the kitchen, and you can't get any dish made. And that's what it's coming down to. Diversity is not a strength. Having a million options, a million perspectives and opinions, and also being in an environment where you have to listen to all of them so you can be fair, that's not what's going to make you stronger. What's going to make you stronger is picking correctly an option, which will have a benefit and a story. So you have to select for people who are action-oriented, who are fact-oriented, and you won't find any politician like that. You won't find any doctor like that. Our very sense of authority has been, hijacked. And the reason being is because it's training people to hate the government, to hate authorities, to not get behind someone who may do something, who may have an understanding. It's conditioning people to servitude in a roundabout way. You could go all the way back to the substance abuse issue and look at Alcoholics Anonymous. The ones that have the most success are the ones that invoke religiosity, that bring in prayer and thinking, God made me as such, and I shouldn't disobey my Father by my actions. So if we brought people more to a religiosity, which also aligned with reality, and I believe that's the Christian perspective, the Western idea, that what is right is what is. You can analyze it, and that there's a truth outside of the human perspective, which is on the godly level. Whereby if you align yourself with that, you align yourself with what we call truth, and then you keep it on. You can live a more righteous life. You can live a more enjoyable life. Well, that is, if you value contentment more than you do pleasure, or if your pleasure senses have been refined. So, it's a pretty deep topic, but I'll just keep it there. Short, short and sweet. Except for it's really not too sweet, is it? It's just concerning that even in times so pressing as this, people want to say, "Oh, this governor likes his people. He cares about Ohioans," or "Oh, that guy, he's no good," or whatever. They're not good, any of them. And as long as you start, continue. As long as you continue to put your authority into these people, these types of people, instead of credible authorities, it's just not going to get better. So anyway, that's my take on it all. Again, there's a million dynamics which you could explore for what to do about such a problem. But it's the same with other problems. There's not so much problems, but there's a lack of application of solutions. Proper solutions. So anyway, take care.